Alright, another video. Here we go. Just want to start off the video by saying that I saw Bad Guy Good Audio doing this, and I'm deciding to copy him. The 77 decibel standard, really good idea. I think we should be enforced throughout the community. And I enforced it with doing all these headphones right here. This video, I mostly used the SP200 THX amp, SMSL, a little bit of the Zencan, and the Cavilli tube hybrid with its stock tube. And that's it in terms of DACs. Amps. DACs und X8 Magic Jack DAC with a Burson op amp in it. If you want to be technical, which I am being right now. A little bit too much. So the title and the little picture thumbnail of this video is this. Might be a little bit different because I am doing this for a second time. Let's get these boys off their high horse of prettiness. The gold Planar GL2000, a double-sided magnet version, the one everyone has talked about already by the time I'm getting to this. First off, let's do the box. The box is this big old Pelican case, air sealed and everything, handle, cheaper Pelican case, even though I have no other experience with the Pelican case. It is sealed, rubber gasket and everything. Inside of here, you'll find installed already are these pads. Do a little close-up of these pads being the sheepskin pads. Okay. Nice pads. Those ones are the ones that come stock on here. I exchanged them out for the hybrids, which is like a sheepskin in the inside, spandex for some reason on the side that touches your skin, I guess. Because people like touching spandex in the country of origin here. The fenestrated sheepskin on the outside has the holes. Don't ask me why. And they're like backwards D shaped to fit around your ear. Perfect. So now inside here you'll come with the pads. At the bottom of the box it's just a bunch of paperwork, foam. Comes with a little bag, little big with your cable, 4.4 Pentagon. When you buy it from Gold Planar's source directly, I'm sure you get a choice of the XLR 4.4 or 1/4 inch. This came from Mass Drop, so it came with the 4.4 Pentagon. I'm pretty sure this is standardized where you purchase it. These cables aren't like proprietary, so you can use any other normal 3.5 millimeter connector, termination or headphone wire, whatever. A lot of props to that wire. I don't use it because I don't only want to put these into my Zencan. So that's all for the box. It's a nice little like double seal thing going on here. I don't know, whatever. Next, it's a box, Pelican case, over the top. You pull these out, the first thing I noticed was a soft headband. Really soft. Hard indicators to see, but they're in here. Left, right, and then there's a trash can. I know, hilarious trash can on the GL2000s. Sounds about right with the community standpoint on them. Trash cans. Take the pad off real quick. I'll show you guys the inside. It's the inside. Little mesh covering, phasered. Has different type of mesh. Sure said it's like Soundstage or something. I don't know. That's all I'm gonna say. This video is I don't know, man. I don't know. Put them on. It's really simple. These cups are so big you have to like flip sides while holding the other side to put these on. And these pads are freaking bigger than your normal Odyssey pads and stuff like that. I do a little thing, little Zeus thing. 4-knuckle? Nah, you can fit your thumb in there too. So it's a freaking full fister of a pad. I mean, which is, it totally feels cool on your ears because it's not touching your ears at all. This one's a little bit smaller. It's a 4-knuckle. You can stretch it to make a 5-knuckle, but it's a 4-knuckle. This one's 5, bigger. In terms of sound that the pads change, this one captures the bass. It gives you more bass. It makes you feel more bass than these pads. You get a little bit less of the airiness, so a little bit less soundstage, a little bit less instrument separation, a little less detail where things are. These pads will give that all to you. They'll give it back to you. You don't get the bass with these pads. You lose that sub bass. But everything else kind of smooths out. The mids get a little bit nasally on these ones, and I feel like they're a little bit less nasally, less problematic on these pads. But these pads, I don't like these pads. So they aren't my daily drivers with these. I like these ones. These ones feel nicer. They make it look nicer. Cosmetics. The problem Zeus was having with the little screw getting loose, I feel mine over here getting loose. The left side's definitely tighter than the right side. A little more resistant. So I'm going to have to tighten that one up later on. Connectors at the bottom are pretty flush. They're actually, looking at it now, they're a little bit less not synchronized. A lot of rubber bushings on here that can break over time. But I wouldn't feel like, I feel like I could drop this headphone and it would get a little bit dinged up and I wouldn't have a problem with it. This plastic, this is metal, plastic. So only metal piece on here, and I don't know what those are, probably plastic. A lot of plastic on this headphone for the price, and that was really disappointing to me. I don't know, I feel like you could have taken from the $100 Pelican case and actually made these out of like a decent aluminum or something more durable. I mean, Neumann could do it, why can't you? That's my main gripe with these, I guess. One of the main gripes. I can't say it's the only gripe. So sound. There's a reason why I have two different headphones here. I have the Argon Fostex T60s, deerskin strap, big old ZMF pads on here. There's a reason why I have these out. And you're thinking, how could you compare a closed back with an open back? Well, remember when Zeus was all like, these things are tuned, you can hear it tuned. I feel like he was reflecting upon the tuning of his Fostex, his Argons, his mod houses. These headphones give you the impression, and they do it more so with the sheepskin pads, they give you the impression of sounding bigger than they are. They put you in a room. With these velour pads, they don't really do that as well until you get the full sound of the sheepskin. So they put you in like this little room in the stage. It puts you in a different place than your actual room. And they sound bigger than they appear. And that's what makes these kind of special. And that in the low end and the treble emphasis on the T60s versus T50s. Yada yada, I'm not getting into the Fostex the community right now. Even though I'll probably upset like all of them already. These do that same type of tuning thing with the soundstage. They make these sound bigger and image better than they seem like they could do from a visual standpoint. You look at these and you're like, okay, so they're gonna be this big. Headphone can't really fool you into sounding bigger, but these and these fool you into sounding bigger than they are. Now, if you know about the HE6 SE, these have very good soundstage imaging, low end, mid-range is okay, the detail retrieval is good. These are like an all-rounder. I have them switched with the tour pads, sheepskin to tour pads on Hi-Fi Men rings. I'm waiting on the grills to open these up to get a little bit more of that soundstage, quote unquote. These do better time in the soundstage department than the HE6 on THX amp. These sound bigger than the Argons, obviously, these being closed back. These sound bigger than these. So these are the biggest headphone, planar magnetic headphone that I have, at least. But do they image as well as like my favorite 1060? No, they don't. The 1060 had this magic imaging thing that sounded like a dynamic headphone. And looking back at that, it's pretty crazy, because it's hard to do when comparing these three. It's hard to freaking image that well. And imaging is you take your soundstage, and the imaging is the placement of objects within that soundstage so they can move. And that's what really allures me, is that distractibility through movement. You get things to move, and dynamic drivers are really good at this. Bayer Dynamics are really good at this. 600s aren't really good at it. I have a pair of Neumann NDH20s back there, and they're really good at it. And those are using Sennheiser drivers, so dynamics take the cake. Oh yeah, I forgot about the Focal. They take the cake on imaging. Trust me. Planars, you'd assume with that big old plane that they would be able to move music and sounds around like crazy, but no, they're just favored for their low end displayment. So in the song, let's just get to a little comparison. In the song Static by Millie, at the beginning of the song, you have the pianist, the piano player. You have him stepping on the foot pedals and the plungers of the keys. You can hear all that with these and these. Not as much with these. You get a lot more bass out of these. You can't really hear bass out of that, and you can hear a lot of bass out of those. So these are bass light. Static by Millie has the vocalist in the latter half of the song, middle latter half, where she's kind of like four people. She splits up her vocalist tracks or whatever. So you have one in the center image, you know, the one that you can hear all the time. Then there'll be another one that goes to the right a little bit, and then there'll be one that goes to the left 180 degrees. And then I think there's another one that comes in, but I don't remember where she was at, because I haven't listened to my T90s that I sold in a while. Not the T60s, but the T90s. And I could hear it really well on the T90s. Now these can't really do that. The Argons are pretty good at that. The 6SE is decent at it, and the GL2000 is, I say, on par, maybe a little bit better at displaying that little movement that she's doing. And that song is the song I used to test the imaging and soundstage capabilities of a headphone. The mid-range, the vocalist, she just doesn't sound emphasized enough on the GL2000. Perfectly fine on the 6SE, a little bit dipped, so it's a little bit recessed, her voice, so it's not as enjoyable as a 600 or NDH20. Bayer Dynamic, man, they make her sound wonderful. T90s again. That was the song for the T90s, in my opinion. Argons, they're V-shaped, so you're gonna get treble and bass. And so mids, they're okay. Detail, I mentioned the detail. The bass, Glitch Mob, the bass, it comes through when it needs to. The bass, you can hear it all the time. If it's a little bit of bass there, you can hear it on the 6SE all the time. You can feel the bass practically on this. Bass. Come on now. These go low though. I mean, they go way back. As far back as they can go, that's how far back these go. You put these on the i5 Zen can, and you put that little 6XX button, and the bass just goes right up, so you can hear it mostly all the time. Get a nice little treble boost, and it's just like, These things sound really good on the i5 Zen can. They sound good on tubes. Solid state is iffy. The sterility of THX, because that's the only thing I have in terms of solid state, it's sterile, you know? So these things run off of distortion, kinda. I wouldn't be putting them on like a actual tube amp, because I have a hybrid and it'll just solid state, but that little distortion you get out of the signal, these things feed off of that. And these things are a very pleasurable headphone, very comfortable, and they look pretty. They're just like an all-rounder. When you compare these against like an Aria, in my opinion, I don't have an Aria, I would say that the $400 difference, you'd probably be more worthwhile to get these instead of the Aria in terms of that $400 difference. But if you can put that $400 into a used pair of Aria, and that's what I'm basing this off of, I got these for like $580, so $600, and then you can find used Arias for around $1,000. So that $400 difference, and these come new too, so I would prefer these, honestly, but that's just me. I mean, if you can afford the Arias, I mean, you probably already have Arias at this point. They're close enough to me to distinguish that $400 difference to make them worthwhile. Now, if you could score the 6SE, you have the problems of its reliability and it being an old-fashioned driver style, but you can find it I got it for $649 new. So it's all about where you want to put your freaking bones and what the perfect timing too. These things just yes, obviously. Are you kidding me? Why would you say no? Problem is you can't say yes. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Imaging, bass, mid-range, treble, got it all handled. Yeah, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.